Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Fern Stickers, and in this video I'm going to tell you all about my new cutting machine. And to start with, I want to say a few things. So first of all, originally I'd recorded this kind of as a vlog, and I got a lot of footage of me getting it set up and trying the settings and stuff, but in the end I don't think that was a super interesting video, so I'm just going to kind of give you some introduction, talk a little bit about the machine and why I got it, then show you how it works, and then kind of give some concluding thoughts. So the very first thing I want to talk about is just what I've decided, sort of maybe where my boundaries are about what I am and am not going to share about my shop, because I really want to take you behind the scenes and show you that. I love seeing that for businesses, even businesses that I know nothing about, but at the same time there's also things that I've figured out that I feel like are kind of proprietary to me, things that make my business successful, things that I've figured out. And so even though I'm going to share a lot of things with you, I'm not going to share everything. And if you ask me a question, there are some questions I'm not going to answer, and I hope that you understand that. So for example, when I started my shop, I didn't understand why other sticker shops were so cagey about what printers they used. Now I understand why, because I have spent thousands of dollars trying different printers. I have spent countless hours learning about how inkjet printers work, researching them, and I'm really pleased with the print quality that I get from my current printer and the settings that I use. But I've spent so much time and money figuring that out that that's not information that I really want to divulge. And I hope that you can understand that. And especially too, even if I told you what printer I use, if you don't know the settings that I use, if you don't know the software that I use, you're not going to get the same results. And so that's another reason I can't really recommend the printer, because unless you use it the way I'm using it, it's not going to be successful. So I'm not going to share everything, but I do want to tell you about this new cutting machine. And a big part of that, first of all, I found this by doing a Google search. It's not like I spent a lot of time researching machines. There are a few comparable options, but not really. This is a pretty unique machine for what it does, so it's not something where the fact that I chose one brand over another is a big deal. This is kind of what exists. And the other thing too is this is something where I really want to help other people, because if I had known this machine existed 6 to 9 months ago, I would have bought it then, and it would have been a huge game changer for me. And if I can help somebody else, especially someone else like me who is doing a sticker shop on their side, I would say I'm sort of a medium-sized business maybe, and if I wanted to quit my full-time job, I could, and I could replace my income with my business, but I don't intend to. So for other people who are like me, this might be really useful information, and so I do want to share that. And again, people who show their behind the scenes process are pretty much only using silhouettes or doing vinyl. And I didn't realize there were other options. There probably are other sticker shops using this, but they don't show their behind the scenes. So I do want to make other people aware that there are options beyond just using a bajillion silhouettes. The other thing then I want to say with this too, I'm not going to talk about how much this machine cost. If you want to find out, you can Google it and find out. But it is expensive. I spent a lot of money on this machine, and it all came out of my business. I have, except for an initial investment of a few $100s, everything else that I've bought for my business has come out of business cash flow. So I do run a profitable business. I was able to buy this out of business funds, but it was not cheap. And for me though, buying this was the right choice, because again, I have a full-time job that I have no intention of quitting. And so for me, my goal right now is to try to make my business run more efficiently, to be able to better delegate to other people. And so having a machine that automated cutting and was faster and was more precise were all really important to me. And so for me, it was definitely worth it to spend this kind of money on a machine. This is a business investment, and it's going to make a really big difference for my business. So let's talk about the machine. What is it? So it is a Graphtec F-Mark-2. And what this machine does is it automatically, you can put a stack of printed sticker sheets in it, it automatically feeds them into the machine, cuts them, and drops them out the other side. It's essentially, so Graphtec is, I'm not quite sure what the relationship is, but they're the parent company, or they own Silhouette or something. They're like the professional level Silhouettes essentially. And this machine is actually, there's another Graphtec cutter that's the Graphtec CE-7000. And so what this is it is a CE-7000 with an automatic sheet feeder attached to it. You can't buy the sheet feeder separately, but you can buy this cutting machine separately. And again, as sort of an informational video for other people, the Graphtec CE-7000, the smallest size, I think would be another good option for sticker shop owners. It's way less expensive than the F-Mark-2, and I think that if you're looking for something that's more precise, faster, lets you do matless cutting, I think that it would be a really good choice for a lot of other sticker shop owners. So that's what the machine is, and now I'm going to show you how it works. So let me show you the basic setup of the machine before I start cutting on it. And I guess you're going to get a sneak peek of one of the September kits that's coming. So this is where you stack up the sheets that you are going to feed in, and you can see it really fits a lot of sheets. This is maybe 50, so I could fit a lot more in there. This arm is going to pick up the stickers and feed them into the cutter. It's going to cut, and then it will drop out this chute behind. So that is kind of the basic way that it works, and I will show you in action now. So that showed you the cutter in action. It's interesting for me to see that that was about 90 seconds start to finish for that sheet, which would probably have been, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes to cut on the silhouette. So obviously you can only be cutting one thing on here at once as opposed to the silhouettes where I could be doing a bunch of different designs, but the fact that I can set this up and walk away and put a whole bunch of sheets in and then like go about my Saturday and do other things is amazing. The other thing I should say too, it can go faster. It has higher speeds. This is about 50% of the max speed it can go, but I found you start to get some quality issues when you go too fast. And again, since I can like just walk away and have it cut, that's fine for me. I'd rather not have to go through an oops anything. I'd rather just have it cut a little slower because as you can see, it's still cutting really fast. The thing that's been the biggest hassle to figure out in terms of settings this week is figuring out how to get the sheets to cut out, because with matless cutting, that's more of a challenge. And so I've experimented with all kinds of things this week. I have stacked up mats in there, put them on mats and stacked them up on mats. I've put registration marks for both the F-Mark and the silhouette and then run them through the silhouette to cut them out. But eventually I played with the settings enough to figure out how to get the F-Mark to cut out the sheets. The only downside, which again is really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, is that I have to do it as a second pass. So I'll show that to you. I'll cut a bunch of these sheets and then I'll come back and show you the second pass. Because the F-Mark is set up, there's 2 different blade positions, and really for kiss cutting versus die cutting, you want to have it in the different blade positions, and it can't move that automatically. But again, it's really not a big deal because with the outlines, I only have so many different sizes of sheets. So like yesterday, I had like eight different script stickers, I think, and so they were all set up the exact same way on the sheets. It was all 2/4 sheets on a page, so I was able to set up, I don't know, I probably had like 80 different sheets that needed to get cut out. And again, I just set them up and they were all able to cut out in one go. I walked away, I made dinner. So it's a little bit of extra work to have to do it through a second pass, but it's really not a big deal, especially because I'm doing a pretty big scale of things. So I'm able to get that efficiency and be able to just have this running in the background. So again, I'll come back and show you the die cutting the outside in a little bit once I've got more of these sheets cut. So the one other thing to show you before I show cutting out the outlines is the setup on the sheet. So I think one downside, for me, it all balances out and it's definitely still an upside, but the way that the margins, the registration marks set up, and with the matless cutting, you need wider margins. You can't fit as much on a page as you can with the silhouette. Again, that said, for me, I'm going to have so much less oops. This is going to save a lot of time, lower labor costs. It all balances out, and in the end, I'm still able to to work it out, especially because I got legal size sticker paper. So normally I've been using letter size paper, and so this is still on letter size paper because this is a half letter sheet. This I would only be able to fit one on with the silhouette anyway. The legal size sticker paper is only 3 cents a sheet more than the letter size, and I can fit relatively a lot more on. So you can see a couple ways that I've laid out on the legal size paper. So this makes a lot more sense, and I got another printer to print legal size that it's really just the size bigger of the printers that I currently use, but it's been giving me some problems, and I've been finding that I can actually put the legal size paper in my printers that are only supposed to print letter size, and I just kind of have it sticking out, and it's printed just fine. So I do have to set the sheets up differently, and I think that's another thing to say too, is there is some initial work to move all my files. So you essentially make a cut line. The cut line you save as an Illustrator file, and then you just bring the cut line into the folders. Yeah, so I do have to like reformat all my files, but again, because you can sort of make templates, like this one especially, I'm being more conscientious now about how I think about setting up templates. So now, like from now on, for all future kits, I can make like the full boxes and the doodles. I can use guides to make sure I put them in the exact same spot, and then be able to use the same cut files over and over again. So to finish up, I'm going to show you cutting out the outline. So I've got a stack of essential sheets here, and I've got them in a few different designs, but again, they're all laid out the same way, so they'll be able to cut the outline the same way. So I need to adjust my blade depth and position, and then I can cut these out. So then you can see that it's cut out. So I probably need to increase the force. I just did one, so I'm going to increase the force. It'll cut out a little bit more, but actually this isn't too bad. It's kind of coming apart now, so this probably is okay. So it kind of it doesn't cut out 100%, but that's good, because you want, when it shoves when it ejects this into the back, you don't want the outline to get separated from the middle and end up having things under there. So that then takes a little bit of work to go through and make sure that all the outlines the extra is cut off, but it doesn't take very long at all compared to, again, the amount of labor that goes into like taking this off the rest of the way is not very much compared to the way I was doing things before. So I'm going to send this whole pile through to get the outlines cut, and then I'll set those aside, and on Monday I will have one of my assistants go through and get these all taken out and sorted. So yeah, that is my process cutting with the F-Mark-2. So that is my new cutting machine. I've been really happy with it so far. It took a little bit of time to get the settings figured out and figure out the best way to do things, but I feel like I'm just over a week in, and it has already made a really big difference. I've been able to cut a lot more stickers and have really consistent quality, and this all is going to make a really big difference for me as I'm trying to delegate more work to my employees and have to do less of it myself. So this was definitely a good investment for me. I would not be surprised if in the future I buy a second one of these. Again, it's pretty pricey, and right now I don't have the space for a second one. I'd also like to take some profit from the business and make some money over the next couple months, so I'll probably pay myself first a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if before too long I buy a second one, both to further improve efficiency, but the biggest reason is just maintenance, that if I have to fix this, I have to mail it in to get it repaired, and it would be a real bummer to be short my entire machine. So for that reason, I'm going to keep a bank of silhouettes so that if I need to go back to the silhouettes, I can, but having a second Graphtec for redundancy would be pretty handy as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found it interesting or useful or informative, and I will see you again soon. Bye everyone.